Hey friends, welcome to the HealthSimple Show. I'm your host, Kyle Reidhead, and I interview health and wellness experts from around the world to help you live healthy, happy, and stress-free. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions about anything we talk about through this episode, just comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to HealthSimple Radio. I'm joined today by Dr. Jaime Hope, and we are going to talk about her new book called Habit That. It sounds very, very interesting, and so I'm excited to sort of dive into it. But first, welcome to the show, Jaime.
Kyle, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on and excited to dive into this conversation. But first, why don't you give us a bit of a background of who you are and kind of where you're currently at and what you're doing?
Sure. So I'm a dual board certified physician. My day job is practicing emergency medicine at one of the top busiest level 1 trauma centers in the country outside of Detroit. Awesome. In addition to that, I am an assistant professor and I teach motivational interviewing and behavior change to future doctors along with some other lifestyle medicine stuff. And I'm an author, as you mentioned, of the book. I'm a professional speaker and a coach, and I keep adding more job descriptions.
Dabbling into just about everything, aren't you?
Yes, but it's interesting. It's all very focused on the same things that are my passions, which are helping people get healthier.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that. And you know what's really interesting about you, and I'm sure I'll learn a little bit more, but from just the discussion we've had before we started recording here, you're very into nutrition and sleep and stress and sort of the holistic health approach.
Yes.
But as a physician, you don't typically see that all that often. It's usually the medical route and that sort of angle. So I'm interested to know what sort of got you into the holistic health side of things as a physician.
You know, that's a great question. I think there are people on this side of the fence that need to embrace it as well. Mm-hmm. It really started, I've always been passionate about it in kind of my own health journey. But working as an emergency physician, I see people that are there on the worst day of their life. Mm-hmm. And it really bothered me because in my head, I'm thinking, gosh, if they had had some help along the way to develop some healthier habits and take better care of themselves, they wouldn't have needed to be here today. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be having this heart attack. We wouldn't be having this event. And so all those years where the passion was just kind of in the background for me, I felt very compelled to do something. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to figure out pretty soon from talking to me, I'm a huge nerd. I'm a huge science nerd. I love it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to believe, snake oil and BS. What's the science? Mm-hmm. And it turns out there is a substantial body of literature supporting things like what we used to call alternative medicine, like getting more sleep and getting some exercise and eating healthy, nutritious food and taking care of your stress. So it's very funny to me that kind of thing is considered almost side, whereas that's the first thing we should be learning in medical school. Mm-hmm. And so not only am I doing that in my practice and then with clients and stuff like that, I got onto the curriculum committee at our medical school, through kind of borderline guerrilla warfare. I applied multiple times. And so now I'm on the curriculum committee and making sure that this is how future doctors are taught.
Oh, that's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you.
Because I know they've started to almost remove some of anatomy and some of the things that you'd think a doctor should learn in school. They've actually started to remove that. And I don't really know why, but you're kind of getting that switch and bringing it back and getting that nutrition and getting all these different things into it, which I think is incredible. So good for you, first of all.
Absolutely. We start with a good healthcare model. And then, of course, we do need to treat diseases. Yeah. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but let's start with a healthy base, and it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Now, what's it like? First of all, I just want to know what's it like.
Don't mind my dog in the background here. I don't know if you can see her on camera. She's so nosy when I'm podcasting. I'm sorry. Hi, Zoe.
No.
Say hi to everybody.
What's it like being on the front lines working in Emerge, where, like you said, you're seeing people on their worst day ever? How does that does that affect you at all mentally? What is that like when you go home and you just sit down and you go, wow, what a day? It's a little bit different than most people who are just, in an office working 9 to 5. What's that like?
I'm not going to lie. It's crazy. It really is. With other jobs that I'd worked prior to medicine, I'm like, okay, if you don't finish this report, you might get in trouble. You might get fired, but no one's going to bleed to death. So it's a very high pressure, very fast paced situation, very, very high stakes. And I have found that, a certain level of stress is good. It helps keep me energized. I like the excitement. I like the interest. I remember people telling me like, oh, you're so empathetic. You don't belong in emergency medicine. You're too nice, which I thought was ridiculous. I think that's the place where you need the nice people. They're like, no, go be a pediatrician. You're too nice for this. But no, it's very stressful. And we have amongst the highest rates of burnout and physician suicide. And I've been there, not suicide, but burnout and feeling awful. And like, why am I doing this? I'm sick of this job. I'm sick of everything. And I realized at that point that it was time to either like quit or learn how to develop ninja level rock star coping skills.
I love it.
And so now I teach resilience to others because I've been through the fire. I've been, in addition to like crashing patients and seeing horrible tragic stuff, I've been punched, I've been kicked, I've been spit on, I've been called names, I've been threatened, in addition to the hard work I'm doing. You really have to learn how to deal with stress.
Absolutely. And so when did this book come out? Habit That, by the way, just recently, right?
It did. January 8th was my release day on Amazon.
Congrats.
Thank
And I think it became an Amazon bestseller quickly. Did it not?
It did. First 24 hours. I was so excited. That's
incredible. So talk to me about this book. What inspired you to write it, and give us a little bit of a summary of what the book is about.
Sure. So what inspired me is that I can't reach every single patient individually. I would love to see everybody, or coach everybody or treat everybody, but I can't. So all the years of research and the teachings I've been doing at the university and with patients and in clinical medicine, I put it into a book that people can read. It's designed for non-medical people, so you don't have to know, very complicated words. This is just for, for regular people who want to improve their lives. And it's a great starting place for people.
Making it nice and simple, which is what I like here on HealthSimple Radio.
Yes, I know. We like that because the more complicated you make it, the less likely someone is to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I love practical tips, things that someone can listen and take right away and just go put it into practice. And if they put it into practice and they do it consistently, hopefully it becomes a habit. So that's kind of the goal of it all. Now, on the front part of your book, the slogan of the book is learn to health up in just 5 minutes per day. So in the book, you're talking about, is it how to create habits, or is it mainly how to sort of improve your health, or a little bit of both, I guess? Talk a little bit more about that for me.
Okay, it's a little bit of both, because as humans, we're very interesting creatures. We love habits. So imagine right now, Kyle, that you are brushing your teeth. Like, imagine picking up your toothbrush. What side of your mouth do you start on?
I would start on my left side.
Every time, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a habit. Yeah. You don't think about it. You're not spending your cognitive load of your day thinking, which side am I going to brush my teeth on? It's ingrained. So, and our body likes that. If the more you do something, then it doesn't have to think about it. It can think about something else. So I teach people about just the general, basics about human nature and habit creation. Yeah. I talk about so the first half of the book is about, goal setting and understanding habits. And then the second half, the 4 pillars of health. So eat, sleep, burn, release. So diet, sleep, exercise, stress relief. And so then taking what we learned in the first section about habits and goal setting and applying it to the specific situations in the second half. Okay. So it's very actionable. You don't want people to read a book and say, okay, that was interesting. What the hell am I supposed to do? Yeah, exactly. It's very crystal clear. Here are some things you can do.
So I want to get into all the different, break down the different health aspects that you just spoke of. But first, let's talk about habits, because I think this is something that's really important. I think a lot of people, when they want to change their health, they do a 30-day challenge, or they go on, all these different things where it doesn't become a habit and it doesn't become a lifestyle change. It's just something that they do and they force themselves to do. for a few weeks. And then once it's done, they don't actually learn anything and they go back to their default setting, I guess. And so I'm a big fan of developing and working on habits. So how does someone go about changing their habits? What is some of the what is your best advice for someone who's looking to actually change some of their habits?
So, Kyle, I think you explained it very well in terms of, people are doing these challenges, these fad diets, these short-term things, lose the weight, and then immediately start gaining it back. That's the exact opposite of what we're doing here. We're talking about a lifestyle. And so you have to practice something more than once in order for it to become a habit. So whatever the health protective behavior is, and sometimes if you try and give people too many things, you throw 50 habits at them, that's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you're not incorporating it into your mindset, incorporating it into your brain. So choose one. Truly, seriously, if it's starting with one is better than starting with none. And so that's why I talk about even 5 minutes a day, because for some people are doing 0 minutes. There's like, I can't exercise for an hour, so I just won't exercise. As opposed to giving yourself some type of momentum toward what you're wanting to do.
Yes, exactly. You're speaking my language exactly, by the way.
I was watching your earlier podcast. That's why I said, I was like, we're going to get along.
Because I think this is huge, though, is you brought it back to just doing one thing. And everyone wants to change everything all at once, whether it's weight loss or, whatever it is that the goal they're trying to achieve. And with my clients, what I do is I like to just simplify it, bring it back, and go, okay, what's the one thing we can work on this week? And the next week, if you didn't do it good, well, let's continue to work on that. Or if you happen to do that well, then let's move on. What's the next thing that we can do and add on to it? And it builds that momentum. What do you find? Is there a timeline to actually ingrain a habit in yourself? I mean, you hear a lot about the 21 days for a habit to be created. Are you on this side, or do you believe in something different?
I think I would like to know exactly where they pulled that out of.
Me too.
I'm skeptical, because think about this, like how easy it is to create a habit. So one day after lunch, there's a bowl of peanut M&Ms sitting out and you eat peanut M&Ms. Next day, there's still some in the bowl. You eat them again after lunch. Third day, your brain is like, where the hell are my peanut M&Ms? It doesn't take that long, especially when the habit is pleasurable or fun. Like cocaine, people do cocaine. They want it the next time. It takes one.
True. Okay.
So the 21 days, I don't know about that. But it is about, once you have to incorporate it into your lifestyle. Like if you want to create an exercise habit and you've never been a morning person your entire life, and to say, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. every day and exercise, that's ridiculous. You're not going to. But if you include it into your current lifestyle, then you have a substantially higher chance of success. And
find a way to enjoy it. Like if you're not going to, there's no point in doing something if you just don't like it. So if you don't like to run for an hour every day, don't run for an hour every day. There's different things that you can find. And I think that's something that people need to understand. There's no set protocol for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. It's, you need to move, right? That's a basic fundamental human requirement. You need to move, but it doesn't have to be running for an hour every single day. It can be something different, right? Maybe it's, I don't know, playing tennis, or maybe it's going to the gym, right? It's finding something that you enjoy. And I think when you find something you enjoy, it's very easy to make it a habit, right? It just becomes natural almost right off the bat, like your peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, when people, and it's so crazy. I mean, you've seen this, I'm sure, with your clients. They finally find something that clicks with them. I tried to make myself a distance runner for years because I thought I was supposed to, especially treadmills. I've kind of reached this point in my life where I would not rather poke my eye out than be on a treadmill for an hour, but close. Yeah,
me too.
I need to be outside. I need sunshine. I need air. So if for whatever reason, like the ridiculous ice storm we had this week, if I can't be outside, I'll do something, but not a treadmill. Why torture yourself? Do something fun, go dancing or something crazy. I took the kids to a trampoline park and we jumped for an hour and a half.
There you go.
That was a great workout.
Okay, so let's talk about the health up in just 5 minutes a day. Is this a specific protocol that you've set up, or is it finding one thing to do? What do you mean by health up?
So it's that's kind of the trendy thing, like, scale up, live up type of thing. So I was like, well, if all these other people are using that, why not health up? That's the most important thing before you do all of the other stuff. So yeah, it's not a specific protocol, because for some people, if I gave people, okay, you need to do this, 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 and this habit, it might not resonate with that person in particular. Or I can assign somebody a habit and they're already doing it, or they're never going to do it. So it's a stepwise approach. So first I want people to understand the mindset. So we've talked about that. Then I want to know, what is their why for doing this? Why do you want to make this habit? Because like I do, that the tides of motivation are pretty fickle. Mm-hmm. People get really excited around like New Year's and Mondays when they want to do the whole habit. And then by, a couple days later, not so much. Mm-hmm. But if you're connected with your real why, and it's usually something personal. I'm a doctor, so people tell me, I'm doing this for my cholesterol. No, you're not. People aren't really doing it like that. Okay. But when I have an opportunity to connect with the patients, what I hear from people are things like, I was on an airplane and I had to ask the flight attendant for the belt extender. And that was so embarrassing. I never want to do that again. Mm-hmm. Or I had one woman tell me, she's like, I want to be able to have sex with the lights on without a t-shirt.
Okay.
And it's deeply personal, but that's the kind of thing that helps keep you going. And so connect with your real why. Why on earth are you doing this? Why are you running? Why are you jumping at a trampoline park? Why are you on a treadmill? What's going to keep you going for that? Mm-hmm. And then once you've connected with the why you want to do this, then we just start building goals. And so even if you only have 5 minutes a day to dedicate to your goal, it's better than no minutes.
It is.
And I have found that tends to be more like a first domino for people. So they might start off with 5 minutes, but they start to feel better and better, and it gets better.
And they start to, in that 5 minutes turns to 10 minutes into 20 minutes. And all of a sudden you spend your whole day taking care of yourself, which is great. And I think, right. That's
my secret evil plot.
I tell you, it's only 5, but it's going to go a lot more. And it's so true though, because once you start to feel good or feel better, it almost becomes a bit of an addiction itself. And you go, okay, well, how can I feel better now? And it's like, okay, I started by just exercising a little bit. Now it's like, okay, well, maybe I want to eat a little bit better, or maybe I want to meditate, or maybe I want to do this. And it's just that momentum, that just sort of that compound, I call it, that compound effect in it. And all of a sudden now you're working on yourself for 2 hours a day, and it just becomes normal. So, a lot of people probably listening go, I don't have time to do all these things. I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to exercise or whatever. You do have time. You're not used to having time for it. So I love that you say, just start 5 minutes and just watch where it goes from there. So it's a great way to start. Now, how does someone decide, I get this question a lot too, so I'm interested to hear your answer, but how does someone decide where they should start?
So, it's kind of like, here's a menu of healthy living options. What area would you like to focus on? And so if you're looking at, okay, diet, exercise, stress relief, more sleep. Mm-hmm. So even choose one of those. And then in that, so say you choose exercise, in that there's different subcategories. And I like to start with the big view and then get more and more granular until we get to the Smarter Goals worksheet I have people do. And so you don't have time, but okay, you watch your favorite TV show twice a week. Exercise during your TV show. Mm-hmm. So really help empower people. People always have that objection. We don't have as much time. I used to exercise when my kids were napping, but then I also had to do, laundry, do emails, do client stuff, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, it occurred to me one day, why not exercise with my kids? Now we're getting quality time. I'm modeling healthy behavior for them, and we're having fun. Mm-hmm. So there's ways, and so just chatting with people how you can incorporate that into your life much more than you think you can. People have way more time than they think they do.
They do. And you know what I love about just learning to take care of yourself is that, especially when you have kids, you're going to teach them how to take care of themselves too, because that's been lost a lot over the years. The amount of people that don't know how to cook anything nowadays, substantial. A lot of people that just don't know how to exercise or don't even know why they should. And these are things that I believe anyway should be taught by your parents. So I really like that you'll incorporate, your children in it, because they're going to end up learning, these kind of things as well.
Oh yeah, they're great. And from a very young age, because I was a very picky eater as a kid. I was the worst. I went through a vegetarian phase, which mostly meant like Cheetos. I wasn't actually eating vegetables, just to be clear, when I was a vegetarian. And it was hard to overcome. So I started my goals when I was doing this journey. I'm like, wow, if I'm going to be a doctor and tell people they need to be healthier, it's going to be really awkward if I have Cheeto dust on my white coat. So I had to brush it off and start learning myself. And for me, one of the first goals I worked on after drinking more water was vegetables. And it was hard. And I was like, gosh, I don't want my kids to have to go through that. So from the time they were young and eating their very first foods, they got a green vegetable with lunch and dinner every day. Okay, they're 5 and 7 now, and every day they don't even, it's not even a question. They don't even argue or question it. They get to choose which green vegetable. So they're still empowered. We get in a car to go somewhere, like to a birthday party where they're going to be serving nothing but pizza and ice cream. Seriously. Yeah. We get in the car immediately. They're like, where's my veggies? Because they know I'm about to hand them some to eat on the way to the party.
Really?
I've created interesting habits. So we get in the car and they're like, where's my vegetables?
So have you passed along the habit thing with your children as well? Are they looking at trying to build new habits and things like that too? Are they mindful of that, or do they care at this point?
I would love to say that they're cared and they're mindful, amazing human beings, but sometimes they still color on the walls. No one's perfect.
There's not much you can do about that, I guess, eh? So let's talk a little bit about some advice that you would give to someone who's just first starting to change their lifestyle. So trying to change their health, and it doesn't have to be for weight loss. It can just be someone who just goes, okay, I'm sick of feeling like crap every day, and I want to feel better. Whether it be in just the 5 minutes or maybe it's more broad. Talk a little bit about some of your best advice or things that you would typically do.
Sure. So one of the first things I would want to know for somebody who wants to do this is, what do you call yourself in your mind? What is your mindset? Because I have a lot of people, they say they want to get healthier, but in their mind, they're thinking of themselves as a fat person, as a diet failure, as hopeless at this, as a chocolate addict, whatever it is. That label that we have in our mind is substantially stronger than we give it credit for. Because no matter what health protective behaviors you're trying to make, if in your mind you're still a fat person or a carb addict or whatever, you're going to eventually go back to acting like that label. So when you realize the label that you're giving yourself and that you're acting toward it, I help them give themselves a new label. You're a healthy person. Right now, today, in whatever body you have, give yourself that label, I am a healthy person. And you will start to think like a healthy person thinks, act like a healthy person acts. A healthy person nourishes their body. A healthy person can have a brownie now and then and not burst into flames. Like, calm down, people. It's not that big of a deal. We get this crazy thing like, oh, I'm so bad, I ate a brownie. Like, chill out. You didn't murder somebody. Yeah. You're a healthy person who had a brownie today.
Yeah, which is fine. And if you're healthy, then you can handle that. You deserve that brownie, right? It's okay. Yes. But if you have that brownie every day, well, not so much.
Yeah, and exactly. It's that kind of thing. So giving somebody that empowering mindset. And so I tell people, write it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on a Post-it note. Repeat it to yourself, because your brain believes whatever you tell it. You're in charge. Whatever you tell your brain, it will start to believe. And you will start to act like a healthy person. And so now you have your label, you have your mindset. Now, what goal do you want to work on first? Is it eating more vegetables? Great. Let's sit down and get smarter. The Smarter Goals worksheet about it. How do you want to go about this? And let's do it. And once you kind of clear, like one of my good friends, Joe Polish, he calls it a mental enema. He's like, because your mind is so full of BS, you need a mental enema to get rid of all that. And then the rest of the stuff gets easier.
Yes, it does. And I love that you start with mindset. You don't usually hear that. I think people, when they want to change their health, they go and they learn as much as they can about nutrition and exercise and whatever else. But it's so true that you've got to control that mind first, because it's what's going to make all those decisions for you. It's what's going to choose what you eat. It's what's going to choose if you actually get up and go to the gym or not. It's what's going to guide your day. And so you need to get your mind in check before you do anything. And I like the Post-it notes on the mirror. I do that with my clients as well.
You do the password trick?
No. So I do. what's the password trick? Let's talk about that first.
So all the things that you have to log on to, change your password to something empowering, like I am a healthy person, and throw in some exclamation points and capitalize random words. I'm not trying to hack anyone's passwords, I promise. But so you have to type it. So now you see it, you're saying it, and you're typing it.
I love that. Because I was going to ask, do you do affirmations? And this is a type of affirmation. I guess I've never heard of it, but it is somewhat of an affirmation, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So what I do is I have my clients write their goals, specific goals, whatever it is, and they put it on a Post-it note and put it on their mirror. And that way, every morning they wake up and they see what their goal is. And so it just kind of reminds them in the morning, okay, my goal is to lose this much weight, or my goal is to change, this. And so when you start your day knowing that and understanding what your goal is, I think it just makes it easier for you to make those small decisions, put you in the right direction. So I'm a big fan of affirmations. Actually, I have my next guest on the podcast is all about affirmations. So we're going to talk all about it.
Oh, good. I can't wait for that one.
So I'm all about trying to change the mind, or sort of control your mind to lead you in the right path. So I'm really glad that you started with that aspect. Yeah.
No, that's one of my favorites. We have so much more power over our minds than we think we do. Think about, that rush that we get when we are scared of something, that we're about to do something nervous, or when we're super excited about something. Interestingly enough, it's very similar body chemistry. It's all about what you tell yourself. Either way you still got there, but how you respond to it is what you tell yourself. And so I've helped people who are very nervous about public speaking, which for me, I think is fun, but they get so nervous and that crazy fight or flight response. I'm like, just tell your body that you're excited, that you're ready to deliver some amazing content and give value. And your brain believes what you tell it. If you tell your brain that the sky is falling and the world sucks, you're going to have a stress response. If you tell your brain, I got this is going to be amazing, it believes you.
And you really want to manage your stress. You don't want to allow that stress to go. I've definitely been, when I first started doing some public speaking and just like presenting and things, it was obviously scary, but you kind of, you figure out ways to get around that. And it's true with everything, not just speaking, but even people that are looking to change their health, they may be afraid to start cooking, right? They may be afraid to go into the gym, and you got to understand that that's normal and that's completely okay, but you've got to get strong, and you've got to mentally just tell yourself that, hey, I'm going to suck at this for a little bit, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to get better at it. And that's just all there is to it. And that's what life is. It's just it's a process. It's getting better at everything that you're going to try. So understanding that before you start your new endeavor, your new habit, or your new whatever it is, I think is an important aspect to actually get to where you want to be.
Yeah, we're supposed to suck at stuff when we try it. It's your first time. After medical school, they make you do a minimum of 3 years as a doctor with supervision, because you suck at it at first. You have to learn and grow and learn. And it's the same thing with, we've gotten so hard on ourselves. Like the first time I tried to meditate, I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible at it. My instructor was like, seriously? People train for years and decades. So you didn't do it right on your first try. You need to settle down. Like when babies are first learning to walk and they fall down on their cute little diaper tush, they don't just be like, well, I sucked at that, I'm quitting. I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I'm hopeless. They get back up and try again. Exactly. We all need to learn that mindset.
So, okay, let's go back to your book here real quick. Is there anything that we've sort of missed? I mean, we touched on how to build a habit and just briefly, and we've touched a little bit about the health aspects that you talk about. Is there anything that we missed, anything that you want to share, or that you think is important for our listeners to understand?
So throughout the book, I have my 4 avatars. So because of confidentiality laws, I can't talk about specific patients. Yeah. But since I've seen untold thousands of patients over the years, I kind of created these 4 characters who are going through life, just like the rest of us. So you actually get to see it through their eyes and what they've learned, and good tips and tricks like that. Because the key is you have to have a specific goal, get smarter about it and go forward and take that, that momentum and that first domino and move forward. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of practical tips. There's even a quiz at the end of the book, because sometimes I hear people say, and you've probably heard this too, I'm doing everything right, but I still can't lose weight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a lot of times what they're missing are the pillars of sleep and stress. So you did a specific podcast about that, which was fantastic.
Thank you.
Because those things are so important. And so a quiz to go through and see, what kind of symptoms people are having. And actually that's a sign of sleep deprivation, or that's a sign of overactive stress response, and really help people get insight into what areas they could use a little bit of improvement.
Awesome. I love that. I think, when you can, especially when you can fill out a form and kind of learn a little bit about yourself, it really helps you to understand who you are and where you're at. And it's something that I do with my clients as well, where, they fill out a form in the beginning where they tell me everything about themselves. And every time that they do it, when I have a new client, they go, actually that was really interesting. I learned a lot about myself that I didn't even know. And I haven't even said anything to them yet. And it's just, when you kind of get a chance to sit down and take a minute and just kind of think about, okay, where am I at? Do I even eat healthy? Do I sleep well? Do I do all these things? Because I think a lot of times we just live our lives just on autopilot and don't realize what we're actually doing. And you may think you're healthy and some people are, but when you sit back and really dive into it, you may learn a lot and realize that, hey, maybe there are some things that you can work on. So I think that's really cool. If someone wants to pick up the book, where do they find it? So
Habit That is on Amazon, which I think is where like the entire planet shops, and also Barnes & Noble. So you can get it on either one of those. Okay. The hardcover, it's saying it's a 1 to 2 month lag time, and it's not true. And I can't get the Amazon people to correct that. So don't be afraid. But it's also available in paperback and ebook version. Audible version will be available in a few weeks.
Okay, amazing. Now, is there anywhere else that if the listeners want to learn more from you, are you on social media? Where do we find you?
Okay, here's all my places. So my website is drhopehealth.com. So just drhopehealth.com, which is also my Twitter handle. That makes it very easy to find. And my Instagram name. And then on Facebook, I have a group called the Habit That Tribe. Okay. And it is where people can come, and it's a private group, but I mean, we're pretty receptive to people being in. You just get removed if you're being an a-hole, but I think that's reasonable.
So it's a tribe where no a-holes are allowed.
Yes, we have a strict no a-hole rule. But so the key is here, we're all busy. These are real people. These aren't Olympic athletes who have unlimited time and money to train for whatever. We have jobs, we have kids, we have lives. So these are real people with busy lives that are perfectly imperfect, trying to just help support each other to create healthy habits. So whatever the habit is, sometimes somebody will post, hey, I'm working on time management. This person wants to work on exercise. The same principles apply. And then to be able to do it and suck at it and get better at it in a supportive environment. So that's what the tribe is all about. You know what?
Facebook groups have become an addiction for me. I love Facebook groups. Just recently, I've gotten into it, and everything that I'm doing out here in Bali, trying to just improve my business and improve everything that I'm doing. I just joined a group about that topic, and I just all of a sudden now I'm scrolling through Facebook, just learning and learning and learning. I'm like, dang, this. I used to never go on Facebook, but groups, they're amazing. Yes. Facebook groups. Check them out. They're the best.
Seriously, I spend substantially more time in a group because it's amazing education. I'm in an EM Docs Facebook group. Yeah. And, of course you can't post confidential information, but people can, hey, what do you do when you have a patient with severe blah, blah, blah? It doesn't matter. Yeah. And people respond, or you had a terrible day and everybody supports you. And they're like, we've been there. That sucks.
Mm-hmm. And it's immediate too. It's like you throw a question in there and it's like right away, you've got people that are just answering you from all over. I'm like, this is fantastic. It's the coolest thing.
It is so cool. It's awesome.
Okay. So I have one last question. It's the question I ask all the guests that come on my podcast. Okay. So you've been through a health journey. You've gotten to the point where you're at now where hopefully you're happy with your health. I don't know, but hopefully. Let's say you were to go back to the very beginning of your health journey and you were to forget everything you currently know right now. I know that would be awful, but let's say that was to happen. If there was one thing you could tell yourself, there's one piece of advice you could give yourself when you're just starting out, what would it be?
I would have started out with mindset a lot sooner. It took me years to figure that part out. I was very focused on the specifics, like the amount and type of exercise and the vegetables and stuff like that. And it took me years to realize that your internal health here makes as much of a difference for your success. So I would have hit that way sooner.
Simple and easy. Love it. Awesome. All right. Well, Jaime, thank you so much for coming on here. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think our views are super in line.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to have. But again, thank you for your work. Good luck with changing the medical curriculum. Hopefully you can do that and
Yes.
get all the right information in there. I think that's so needed. So good for you for doing that. And all the best with the book. Hopefully things go well with that. So thanks again for joining me.
Fantastic. Kyle, thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to watching more of your episodes because this has been great.